What's up, y'all? Today I'm out here with my Centaur Supercurve. I want to remind y'all this bow is a lightweight bow. It's 40 pounds at 28 and 58 inches long. So it's still pretty quick for a lightweight bow, but I wanted to do a video today to do some comparisons as far as what arrow I'm going to be shooting out of this bow, and also does a heavyweight arrow versus a lightweight arrow matter in a hunting situation, as far as penetration wise, and is a heavier arrow better than a fast arrow when it comes to hunting. I'm not one to really say which one is the best, but I'm just going to show you on target what kind of penetration and what kind of force you get with a heavier arrow versus a lighter. So stay tuned. We're gonna shoot this bow a little bit and just show y'all the arrow flight and speeds at about a 15-yard distance to the Reinhardt target. Alright, so we're probably about 15 or 16 yards from the Reinhardt target. We're going to be shooting the deep impact 500 spine arrow here. 500, yeah, it's a 500 spine arrow here with a, this is a 525 grain setup here. We're using a 100 grain focus insert. We're using a 175 grain field point here. So total arrow weight with this setup is about 525 grains. So that's 275 grains total up front with that, and I'm telling you, this is a hard hitting arrow. The other arrow we're going to be shooting is the Easton Legacy 500 stock insert and the 125 grain point. This arrow right here is about 408 grains, so we're getting a good amount of weight difference from this arrow to this arrow. And as far as the speed is concerned, this one's going to be a way faster arrow, but this one's going to hit like a tank in comparison. So y'all stay tuned. We're going to shoot both these arrows down range at the Reinhardt and see what y'all think. So let's start out with the heavier arrow, since we've already shot this in previous videos. I'm going to shoot at the center of the I'm going to shoot at the center of the block target here, just so we can, it's a tougher target, and I just want to see which one's getting more impact from this bow. Alright, so that arrow is right in the center of the target, and we're going to shoot this lighter arrow. I'm going to aim a little bit lower and try to hit, no, I'm trying to hit above that other arrow, and we can see which one's sunk into the target more. Alright, so as you can see, that lighter arrow was a much faster flight arrow and landed way above the other one on the target. Alright, so this was the impact of both of these arrows. I'm going to check out the penetration of each into the target. So this is the heavier arrow into the softer spot of the target. It got about that much penetration, and with the lighter arrow we got about this much. So alright, so as far as penetration from each arrow, the difference, like as far as a measurement from each, was not much different. But I can tell you what, this arrow right here hit that target with a lot more force than the faster arrow. You could tell, like when this one hit versus the lighter one, there wasn't much movement. We're going to shoot the top Reinhardt target with this heavier arrow, and you can watch the movement of the target in comparison with the lighter arrow. So let's shoot it first. Alright, so I shot it on the side there. We're gonna do this, try to do the same with a lighter arrow and see if it moves that target as much as that heavier arrow did. Alright, so the heavier arrow, the lighter arrow did move the target a little bit. I'm pretty surprised at it. It wasn't like a huge movement, but it did have a little bit of force behind it. I'm gonna shoot both of those arrows again and see, kind of watch that again and see which one looks like it has more power behind it. Alright, so we're gonna take 2 shots again with the heavy arrow first and then the light. Watch the Reinhardt target. I'm going to try to put both the arrows near the center and see which one moves the target more. Alright, so there was a pretty good bit of movement from the target off of that heavier arrow. Let's see what the light arrow does now. This is a pretty good bit faster arrow than the heavier setup. The light arrow came off the bow a little weird, but I didn't see much more movement from the heavier arrow than the lighter. That lighter arrow is still putting some force down on that target when it hits. Alright, so when I checked the target for penetration, both arrows were almost the exact same amount into the target. The heavier arrow was about this much further than the lighter arrow. We're going to shoot both again and try to make a good shot. See which one's doing the most to the target. Alright, that moved pretty good. Pretty good bit of movement out of that arrow. You got to remember, this arrow is weighing almost 400, about 415 grains more. No, about 115 grains more than this one, the one I just shot. So, that's definitely a faster arrow there, way faster, and still pretty good movement on the target. Let's go check them out. Alright, so that's where the 2 arrows landed. I want to show y'all this. From where my thumb is, this arrow got this much penetration into the target. This is a fresh side of Reinhardt that I don't shoot much. So, this is the heavier arrow. You can see it's quite a bit of difference in penetration versus the lighter. So I guess you're still kind of wondering what arrow setup might be a better choice for you, as far as like heavy versus light. I just want to kind of think about this. So you have this arrow's maybe 15 feet per second, 20 feet per second faster than this arrow on a chronograph. But let's forget about those speeds right now. Think about this. So we're hunting. You have a pebble, a lightweight pebble versus a heavy rock. Speed's not that much difference. So are you gonna want to throw that heavy rock toward that animal with almost the same speed as that lightweight pebble? Which one do you think is gonna do more damage? The heavy rock, right? It's gonna hit the heavy rock's gonna hit the side of that target with so much more force and cause so much more trauma to that animal versus this lightweight. Of course, the lightweight's gonna zip through the material faster than say that the lightweight will. But if this thing manages to push its way through whatever you're shooting at, it's gonna cause a lot more damage and have a lot more force behind it than this lightweight one will. So I'd rather shoot this heavier setup versus that lightweight whenever I'm hunting an animal. Probably be a better setup for me. Yeah, so like I was saying,
Hungry?
did y'all see that damn sandwich? I gotta stop the video and go eat it. Alright, so like I was saying, I'm probably gonna shoot the heavier arrow to hunt with this season. It's gonna have, even out of a slower bow, sorry, my wife brought me a sandwich and it's good. Even out of this slower bow, that heavier arrow is gonna do the amount of work I need it to do and cause more damage to the animal. So with that, like this broadhead I'm shooting, I said it was 160 grain. It's actually 186 grain broadhead, and it's getting down to the target with a lot of momentum and force. And being a single bevel, it's cutting a pretty good corkscrew into that target. I'm gonna shoot it real quick and show y'all, but I think I have the arrow setup I need for the Centaur Supercurve 40-pound 28 bow, and it's gonna be a good setup. Alright y'all, so like I showed, the heavier arrow is definitely the one that I'm gonna be taking to the woods with me. But I still want to show some more on this video. We're gonna do a shot with the broadhead. This is a 186 grain broadhead on both arrows into the Reinhardt target. I'm gonna go ahead and shoot that good side, and we'll see how penetration is with both arrows. Alright, so the flight was a little bit down. Might move this knock point up. It's been doing that to me. This knock point's been moving, so it's causing a little bit of weird arrow flight. But I'm gonna shoot this arrow. Let's go check it out and see how it penetrated into the target. Alright, so we're shooting the Centaur Supercurve 40-28 and a 525 grain arrow. This broadhead really gets, that's some heck of penetration out of this arrow. This broadhead is a single bevel, so when it goes in, it's kind of corkscrewing. And with this heavy of a point, we're not going to have any kind of problems as far as penetration on a deer, hog, whatever we go to shoot. So pretty amazing setup. Let's try it out on the let's try it out with the lighter arrow. Oh, also with that broadhead, I don't know if I showed you, it was getting about this much penetration with this heavier arrow. Alright, so now we're going to put the broadhead on this lighter arrow. We're going to swap it over to this lighter arrow and see the penetration difference we get from it to the heavy. So this heavyweight broadhead's on here pretty good, so I may have to use a little force to get these off. When you're taking a broadhead on that is kind of stuck, don't use your hands. Put it in something and get it out that way. Hold on a second. I'm gonna unscrew this broadhead and take a shot. Alright, so I got the broadhead unscrewed from this arrow. We're gonna put it in the lighter weight arrow. Take a shot into the target. So I'm gonna see if that'll work. We're gonna that setup should be fine. So we'll see what this does. Alright, so let's take a shot with the broadhead on the lighter weight arrow and see what kind of penetration we're getting with it. So with the lighter weight arrow, we still got that much penetration. That's plenty to hunt with. If you want a faster flying arrow, go with the lighter weight, but I can tell you it's not hitting this target with as much force as that heavier arrow. It's still, it's still putting the broadhead in there. I mean, for a vital hit, that's going to be plenty. Those vitals are soft, but this thing's with the heavier arrow, it's hitting with a lot more force than this lightweight arrow in this broadhead. So it's kind of a tough decision as far as which arrow you want to pick to shoot out of your bow. I mean, the lightweight arrow with the broadhead works, but the heavyweight works too. In my opinion, like I was saying, the rock versus the pebble. If you have a fast flying rock and you can put it down at the target. So I hit the same spot as that other arrow. Like I said, if you have a pretty fast flying heavy rock versus a fast flying pebble, you're going to want to throw that heavy rock down there at the animal versus the pebble. The rock's going to do a lot more damage. It's going to hit a lot harder, and it's going to shock the animal more. It's going to, when it hits those animal vitals, it's not going to have a point of stopping. The momentum behind that heavy force arrow is going to keep pushing through the vitals, especially with that single bevel head. It's going to keep on making that corkscrew and tear up all kind of organs and tissue, and just cause a major amount of damage compared to an arrow that's going to have the speed but stop because of lack of momentum. So think about that. In my opinion, I'm going to pick that heavy arrow, and that's the one we're going to go with. Let's see what this arrow did with the lightweight broadhead, the lightweight field point down on the target. All right, so this was the 125 grain point on the end of the focus system insert. So we're looking at a 50 grain point difference from the 125 to the 175, and we're still getting a pretty good amount of penetration with either. So the lighter, this heavy arrow setup is one that I'm going to be sticking with. It's fast enough to get down and not have get down the range quickly, and still have that ultimate amount of force to do the damage you need it to do. Okay, so like I said, it's kind of a choice whether you're going to decide to shoot a heavy broadhead, a heavy arrow, versus a lighter arrow. That heavy arrow is going to have a bit more momentum behind it than the light arrow. It's going to be like a tank versus a Prius hitting the wall. So think about that. If a tank's going 70 mile an hour and a Prius is going 70 mile an hour, the one that when that tank hits that wall, it's going to do a lot more damage and push a lot more mass than that Prius will. So that's just what I'm trying to, get my mindset. I love a fast arrow, don't get me wrong. I love a fast flying arrow. Maybe, for 3D, for shooting at a long range, that fast arrow is going to carry, it's going to be flatter through the air. Or that heavy arrow is going to have it's going to be flat, but then it's going to take that nosedive there when you get to a certain point. I'm not hunting past 15 yards, so this heavy arrow is perfect for me and what I'm going to be doing. So just, hunting situation, if you think you can, be effective past 20 yards, I may pick a little bit lighter arrow, but I'm not. I'm going to be 15 yards and in. And this arrow setup right here is super sharp. I got a freaking heavy mass weight up front, 500. With this, it's almost 540 grains total arrow weight with this broadhead. It's a 186 grain broadhead. This thing is razor sharp, and I have no doubt it will pass through a hog or a deer with this little lightweight 40-pound bow setup. Let's shoot a few more arrows downrange. We're going to shoot both these arrows into the deer vitals from here, and see what we can do as far as accuracy. Alright y'all, I appreciate y'all watching this video. This is my Centaur Supercurve. This is my main bow this year, and I love shooting this thing. It's super fun, I'm telling you. The 40-pound draw is just butter smooth, and this bow, when you get to your anchor point, it's so easy to hold, and when you let it go, it's super fast. awesome shot right there. Both arrows and the bottles, killer shots. Alright y'all, I appreciate you watching the video today. We have like I said, we have our lightweight set up here and our heavyweight set up here with a lightweight bow, 40 pounds, 28 Supercurve. And I think this heavy setup is going to be the ticket for me this hunting season. We're going to get a few weights on these arrows, show y'all exactly what they weigh. And I appreciate y'all watching the video. Stay tuned. You're going to see a lot more of this bow shooting because it's that awesome of a bow. Alright y'all, so we're gonna take our two arrows here and get a total weight with each. I have a little grain, it's a gram scale, and I'm gonna, when you're doing a gram scale, first you put the arrow on the scale, and I got a 26.8 gram total. So with the 26.8, you multiply that by 15.432. Let me show you all this. 26.8 times 15.432. Let me see. So that's the total weight of the lightweight arrow, 413 grains for the Easton Legacy. That's a pretty lightweight arrow there. So I'm going to weigh the heavier arrow now and get our total arrow weight with that one. So that arrow, the heavier arrow, weighed 523 grains. So that's quite a bit of weight difference as far as make sure that was right, but that's quite a bit of weight difference as far as the two arrows. You know, it's over 100 grains, so it might not sound like a lot, but those two arrows are definitely in a whole different class as far as weight goes.